So today I want to go over the best overall build for a more mid-tier option when it comes to fully built weapons. It's a weapon I really like using because it's one of the more unique weapons in Arena Breakout Infinite that you don't see as much in a lot of other FPSs, and that's the TO3. And what's also interesting is that it's a different round. There's only a couple weapons in the game with this round, and overall this weapon is fun to use and actually pretty good. I think it's almost underrated. And it also got this pretty cool skin from this season's battle pass, and I just really like using a lot of the weapons that are getting skins from the battle passes. It helps keep the weapons you're using be much more varied. But starting off with the TO3 top rail, which you're going to put whatever sight you want on it, you can use this weapon at a bit longer ranges. It's decently accurate, even though this weapon does feel like it has some pretty high damage fall off even compared to some of the other assault rifles, but you can use whatever you want. I've just been using the simple red dot on it. Then for the stock, we're going to be using the TO3 tactical stock. You only have two different stock options, and this is going to give quite a lot of increased stats. Now for magazines, you only have two options. You have a 30 rounder that'll give you a lot more ergo, or you have a 75 round drum, which is a 4 slot. But I have actually been using the 75 round drum recently, and I think it's actually a really good part of this weapon because usually you only have 30 rounders. Those are generally too low if you're fighting a full team. Sometimes I can get you killed, and I think this weapon has good enough ergo with 52 with the 75 round drum on it that it doesn't have noticeably bad ergo. It actually still feels like it has really good ergo with a 75 round drum on it, and a 75 round drum is enough for pretty much any weapon in this game. The only times you see magazines higher than that is people using like thermals and 100 round HKs or M4s or something like that. But for a weapon like this that's also not near as expensive as those weapons I just mentioned, 75 round drum is actually pretty good. Then we're going to be using the TO3 rail handguard, and on that we're going to be having the pistol grip, and we're going to be using the lightweight tactical vertical front grip. Now obviously this is the best and most expensive grip in the game, but if you want to use something that are similar stats that are significantly cheaper, you can use the B25 tilt front grip. It's only 2 less vertical recoil, which this weapon actually has really high vertical recoil. This is usually half or a little bit more than half the price of this, so that can save you a lot. Or you can use a stable triangular front grip that's usually around 30k. This just drops your stats by a little bit, but you save so much on this. You can massively reduce the price of this overall build just by changing up the front grip and not really losing many stats. But if you want the absolute best, you're still going to be using this front grip. And then for your tactical device, you can just put whatever tactical device you want on it. You don't need to put it on a rail. This handguard will already have the rail. I just use the mini blue lasers. They're incredibly cheap, and if you want to turn it on to use a laser sight at some points, it's very easy and cheap to do. Then we're using the T951 suppressor, which is the only suppressor option. I would generally recommend you use suppressed weapons in this game. If you just want to go loud, you have the TO3 muzzle flash suppressor. That's going to be slightly cheaper than the suppressor, 3+ on both your recoils, or you can get +1 on both your recoils and a little bit more accuracy for 10k for the T951 muzzle flash suppressor. But for the most part, I would just recommend you use it suppressed. And then we only have 3 ammo options. We have a level 3 penning, which is the DBP87. This is level 3 penning, 52 base damage, which is decent, 34 pen, 12.5 armor damage. These are really cheap at usually around like 100 to 150 round. It can get up to 200, but usually it's a bit cheaper than that. And generally, if you're using the full build version of this weapon, I would recommend not using purple ammo. If you want to use like a much cheaper version of the weapon, you can use purple ammo. And again, it's usually cheaper than this. It's usually at that 150. But then we have the level 4 penning, which is DVP88. It's currently at right around 1000. And if I'm not mistaken, this is actually the cheapest tier 4 penning ammo in the game. If there is one that's even close to this, I think it would be the 9x39, which is 962 for the SP6. I think this is the only one actually close. I think every other tier 4 penning ammo is like 1200 plus. Sometimes it can get up to 1200, but usually when I'm buying this, this, it's like 900 to 1,000 somewhere in there. So it's definitely on the cheaper end of tier 4 penning ammo. It has 47 base damage, which is still decent, 44 pen, 19 armor damage, right around what a lot of the other assault rifles are using. And it also has a muzzle velocity of 870 and a pretty good accuracy on this round. So these are pretty easy to hit at longer ranges, even though, like I said, this weapon feels like it has pretty high damage fall off. But for like 1,000 a round, that's really crazy and really can't be beat. Also, keep in mind, this weapon has a 700 RPM, so it's right in that sweet spot with the RPM as well. It's not like 800 RPM, which can start draining ammo super quickly. And it's not like the 500 RPM you can get with some other weapons. 700, I definitely think, is right around that sweet spot, right around what the M4 has. So you can still do good in close quarters. You can still hit your shots at longer ranges, and you're using like the cheapest ammo of class 4 penning, so you can actually spray out ammo and not feel as bad. So there's a few pretty good things about this weapon. Then if you really want to, you can use the DVC-12, which is class 5 penning. I think this is also one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest, class 5 penning ammo as well, at right around 4,000 a round. So if you want to use that as well and jump up to class 5 pen, not a bad option. 44 base damage, actually has a higher muzzle velocity and more accuracy, so this is even better at range. 53 penetration, 29 armor damage, actually a really good round for how good it actually is. Now keep in mind, both of these rounds reduce your recoil, but this class 5 penning one really reduces your recoil. The vertical is fine, you probably won't notice it, but -7 on horizontal when this weapon already has a much lower horizontal recoil. You may feel that recoil quite a bit when using class 5 penning. But overall, really good and cheap rounds for their penning, and the weapon is generally pretty well statted. But that's the entirety of this build, and I would definitely recommend trying out this build if you just want to try a new weapon and haven't really used it, or if you're somebody that's maybe getting into more fully built weapons and you don't really want to jump into like the 500+ K fully built weapons. This weapon at normal playtimes, if you're not playing in the middle of the night, will usually be around like 300 to 325,000. The big cost of this weapon, honestly, is this front grip. You can also switch to 30 rounders because these 75 round drums are actually usually decently expensive, but if you change out the front grip to say like the triangular front grip, you can usually more active playtimes get this thing for like 300,000 for this full build. And then you're also using what's basically the cheapest class 4 penning ammo, so this can be a really good full build weapon that's not crazy expensive like HKs or something like that. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.